We've all been there. You spend a lot of time painstakingly drawing a dungeon map, whether on paper or a virtual tabletop, with fearsome monsters, devious traps, and marvelous loot. You're armed with eloquent descriptions, formidable stat blocks, adorable tokens or minis, inspired encounter tables, all of the ingredients for an epic extravaganza. But before your players set foot in the dungeon, they reach the remains of the town where the entrance to the dungeon is hidden. The town was destroyed decades ago in some mysterious event, and no one lives here anymore. You happen to mention just a little detail you put in to make the ruins of the town seem more real, an old well in the middle of the town square. And your party decides to investigate the well. The more you try to convince them that it is meaningless, the more obsessed they become. You become frustrated, barely able to restrain yourself from angrily asking them why they are being so dopey. Why can't they move on? Insisting that the well is unimportant, even going so far as to tell them to leave it be, is not a good way to react. What should you do instead? I think you should follow the advice of the great philosopher Ted Lasso. Be curious, not judgmental. The moment they say they want to investigate the well, before you ask them to roll perception check or investigation check or whatever, be curious. Ask them, what exactly are you looking for? Or ask, tell me exactly how you're going to investigate the well. Instead of judging them for not reading your mind about what is or isn't important in the world you have created, try to see it from their point of view. Then you can decide how to proceed. Welcome to Indeterminate Infinities, where we discuss multifarious aspects of the art of game mastering. My name is Gene. I'm a professional writer and information architect who changed majors 5 times at university. And I've been DMing for 49 years. There are many, dare I say, infinitely many, ways that your players can go off the grid. A little frustration is understandable. You put a lot of thought and prep into this particular session, carefully constructed puzzles, beautiful descriptions of what they will see as they explore your dungeon. But now, they want you to wing it. As I said last time, winging it is part of the job of running a game, so don't complain. Don't let the frustration fester. You may say, but I'm terrible at improvisation. I'll let you in on a little secret. Go look at the videos of the most entertaining and engaging actual play game masters you can find online. Go and watch them. Every single one of those GMs were once terrible, positively awful at improvisation. The way they got better is they kept trying. That's how you learn anything. You try, you stumble and fumble around, and slowly you learn how to be less terrible. Until eventually, you're not terrible at all. But you don't have to try all on your own. YouTube channels such as mine are full of advice and tips and tricks to help you figure out how to be better. This Be Curious trick is just one. It's advice that many GMs use to keep the game moving along. When your players become interested in a particular thing in your dungeon that you didn't plan on being important, ask them leading questions, and do not ask the questions in an angry, irritated tone of voice. The question, what do you expect to find there? When asked in that sort of voice, makes the player wish that they'd be anywhere else other than sitting at your table right now. But the question, tell me specifically what you're looking for, will at the very least prompt them to reveal things that they suspect about the adventure so far. It may will prompt the other players to suggest other things that they might find in the well. And when they answer your question, don't dismiss their ideas. If their suspicions could be relevant to your dungeon in any way, you can let them find what maybe you can let them find what you're looking for, or something similar that will lead them further on. If what they suspect is so completely out of left field that of what you've designed and you're drawing a blank on how to use it, fall back on the be curious gambit again. All right, how exactly are you going to look for this thing in the well? Side note, if you can put on a facial expression or tone of voice that implying that they may be getting to something you didn't think that they'd find yet, even better. Really, really better. Again, the question invites the players to engage further in your world and with the problem that you've presented them. And it's likely as one of the players describes how she's going to lower herself into the well and look for the thing she suspects is there, other players will make suggestions of possible dangers or other things to look for while she's hanging upside down in the well. Let them talk. Because talking about the pros and cons of a particular course of action is a collective act of engaging in your world, which is what you want. Take notes. Some of the things they guess might be good complications to put in later. Or it might be nice to add a little bit of flavor to something that when they finally get into the dungeon and get down to that false throne room. Right? So don't let them go on and on forever. Give them 5 or 10 minutes tops. Cut in with, all right, so Vera Lynn is tying the rope around her waist and Grocknar is going to lower her down? Once the characters have begun investigating, if after hearing their suspicions you've come up with maybe a couple of ideas of things that they might find, but you aren't quite certain which one, you can deploy a variant of the be curious gambit. Instead of saying, give me an investigation check, peer at your notes for a second and say something like, all right, give me an Arcana check or a religion check, whichever you want. Asking them to choose between 2 more specific skills is another way to ask what they think they might find. Make it without it sounding like another leading question. Right? Now you have to be careful when you use this particular gambit. If they roll really well, no matter what skill they choose, you need to give them something for their roll. So, as I mentioned already, this particular version of being curious should only be used if you've had a couple of ideas that you're trying to choose between of what they might find. Another thing to be careful about in this sort of situation is if the character fails their perception check. I mean, really fails. If the player rolls really badly, not like a nat 1, don't act relieved. Do not. If they roll in that one, it's okay to laugh, especially if one of the other players make a joke. But if you react too relieved at their failure, that is just going to encourage the whole party to spend even more time investigating this well that you don't want them looking at, or that you didn't plan on them looking at them. You don't want that. You want them to get into the dungeon, right? So, if they did roll it really badly, and you did think of something the character could find down in the well, go ahead and let them laugh and make their jokes, but don't just throw it away, that idea that you had while they were answering your earlier question. In my example, after Verilyn rolls a nat 1 on investigation, ask Grocknar, the character with the high strength who's holding the rope, give me a perception check, since you're looking at things from a different angle. You came up with an idea for a clue. Give them the other opportunities to find it. Reward the party for engaging in the world and proactively investigating things. When your players do things totally unexpected, don't judge. Don't be dismissive. Don't grumble. Don't whine. Instead, be curious. Ask them what they're thinking. Take their suspicions seriously. The more you learn about what arouses your players' suspicions, the better chance you'll be at improvising a way to move them forward. But also, you'll be better equipped in the future to plan sessions that will engage them. And that's where we'll leave it this time. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up button and/or consider sharing the video. Click subscribe to be notified when new videos are uploaded. If you have any thoughts on this topic, leave them in the comments below. And until next time, keep dreaming.